The great chamber of the Galactic Council was made of white stone and cold light. Long shadows fell from high ceilings. Tall flags of many alien worlds hung like frozen waves in the air. Hundreds of eyes, bright and dark, hard and fearful, looked down from curved seats. The room was full of life, yet it felt empty. It felt like a grave that was waiting for a name. In the center of the floor stood one man. Captain Elias Ward. He wore a simple black uniform with no medals and no weapons. There was no helmet, no armor, no shield. Only a thin badge on his chest showed the blue symbol of Earth. His hands were bound by a silver field of energy, but his back stayed straight. He did not shake. He did not look small. He looked like a storm that had chosen to be still. He had come for peace. He had come with words. Many of the council did not care. Some aliens whispered to each other. Some pretended not to watch but could not look away. A few were angry. More were afraid. They remembered old wars. They remembered how humans fought like fire, how they did not break even when they lost cities and worlds. They remembered stories told to their children in low voices. Do not wake the humans. Do not corner them. Do not kill their envoys. But fear is strange. Fear can make people wise, and fear can make people foolish. Today the council's fear made them foolish. A tall insectoid speaker struck the crystal staff against the floor. The sound rang like glass breaking. The human envoy is charged, the speaker said, with threats against the peace of the galaxy, with hidden weapons, with secret armies, with human pride. Elias said nothing. They did not ask him to defend himself. The trial had already happened before he entered the room. The vote had already been counted. Truth did not matter. Only fear did. He finally spoke, his voice calm, low, clear. Humans do not seek war, he said. We only ask for respect. We only ask that you do not harm us, and we will not harm you. Some laughed. The sound echoed and died. A heavy reptilian admiral hissed. You say peace, human, but we know your history. We know your rage. We know what you become when one of you is hurt. Elias looked up at them, not angry, not begging. Just sad. You are right, he said softly. Silence spread through the chamber like cold water. The council speaker raised the staff again. By vote of the Galactic Council, the sentence is execution. It will be shown live to every world. Let all see the fall of human arrogance. Across the galaxy, screens lit up. On ships, in markets, in homes, in schools, in mines, on farms. And on Earth. Children watched. Soldiers watched. Old men and women watched. No one turned away. The world seemed to stop moving, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. The energy field around Elias tightened. Bright light rose around him like a burning cage. One more step, one more word, and it would end his life. The speaker asked the final question. Last words? He could have begged. He could have cursed. He could have cried. He did none of these things. He stood tall, shoulders back, head high, like a man looking over a calm sea. His last words were simple. You will regret this. No shout, no anger, just truth. The light flashed. The feed cut to black. In the Galactic Council, some cheered. Some sighed in relief. Some felt sick but said nothing. They believed a great danger was gone. They believed humans would now be weak, broken, lost. On Earth, there was no scream. No riots. No loud threats. No shaking fists. The planet went quiet. Cities hummed a little softer. People stood still in streets, in rooms, in fields. It was the kind of silence that hurts the ears, the kind that feels heavy in the chest. Somewhere deep below mountains and oceans, old systems woke. Locks that had slept for 100 years. Unlocked, cold metal moved. Quiet voices inside machines spoke in forgotten codes. One short message appeared on every human military screen. Protocol. Prepare. No music, no speech. No drama. Just those words. Admirals stared at the message with hard faces. Some closed their eyes for a moment. They knew what it meant. The protocol was older than most of them. It was created not for enemies. It was created for the day someone killed a human envoy. The galaxy did not yet understand. They thought humans were silent because they were afraid. They did not know the truth. Humans were silent because something had begun. The news of the execution spread like fire through space. Signals crossed stars. Pirate radios repeated it. Official networks replayed it again and again. The image of Captain Elias Ward standing calm in bright light became a mark in every mind. Some alien worlds celebrated. Some went cold with fear. Some rulers smiled in private rooms. They believed the human problem was finally solved. They were wrong. Far from the Council worlds, in deep black space where no map was clean, human ships moved without lights. They did not speak on open channels. They did not answer hails. They turned toward home in perfect order, quiet and fast. Civilian ships were called back. Border outposts went dark. Human space folded in on itself like a hand making a fist. The galaxy began to whisper, "Why are humans so quiet? Why do their trade lines stop? Why are their embassies closing?" Older species remembered something important. They remembered the first time humanity entered the stars. Humans came poor, small, confused, but burning with will. They learned fast, they failed, and they stood up again. They fell, and they rose harder. They made allies, they made mistakes. They also made a rule for themselves, written not on paper, but in bone. Never start a war. But if someone brings war to you, end it. Long ago, during the first contact wars, humans did something the galaxy did not forget. They fought until there was nothing left to fight with, but hands and teeth and stubborn hearts. Whole fleets burned, but humans kept coming. They came in new ships, patched ships, stolen ships. It did not matter. They fought for each other. The Council learned a lesson then. Do not push humans past the line. So treaties were written. Weapons were limited. Certain research was banned. Big fleets were reduced. Publicly, humans agreed. They signed the papers. They smiled for cameras. They spoke of peace. Privately, humans remembered history. They remembered envoys betrayed. They remembered peace talks turned into traps. They remembered soldiers coming home in boxes. So they built something else, something secret, something old and patient. Not fleets of pride, not weapons of show. They built vaults under oceans, under ice, under black rock. They built AIs that were not allowed to think freely unless a special key was turned. They wrote protocols that no single leader could change. And they added one special trigger. If a human envoy is killed, everything wakes. The Council once knew about this rule. That is why for 100 years, envoys were kept safe. They were honored guests, even in enemy space. Everyone understood what their death would mean. It was not about the envoy. It was about the locks it would open. But time dulls memory. New leaders rose who never saw war. They saw humans laughing, trading, sharing art and science. They thought the old stories were lies or fear tales to control children. They believed humans were soft now. They forgot the cost humans pay for peace. And so they broke the oldest warning. On Earth, in hidden rooms with no windows, generals met in silence. No shouting, no excitement. Only heavy eyes, tired faces, slow breaths. They did not rush. They followed steps written long ago by people who prayed this day would never come. They turned the key. Across the planet, ancient bunkers opened like metal flowers. Lights glowed after a century of dark. Massive machines stretched like waking beasts. Cold-eye minds began to think in deep, calm voices. They did not ask why. They already knew the answer. A single fact guided them. a human envoy died under. A flag of peace in human culture that is not just murder. That is the breaking of the universe's trust. The first global transmission went out not only to allies, but to the entire galaxy. It was short. It had no music, no threats, no screaming. Leaders, just a simple message read in a flat voice. We tried peace, you chose blood. The protocol activates. On alien worlds, rulers stared at the message and felt their hearts sink. Some called emergency councils, some tried to laugh. Some ordered fleets to ready weapons. Ordinary people looked up at sky windows, at stars that suddenly felt closer. And sharper than before, the worst part was not the words. The worst part was the tone. Calm, controlled, certain. Human silence was not weakness. It was focus. It was a storm drawing breath. The galaxy began to understand something terrible. And true, humans do not like war. But when war is forced on them, they do not come to bargain. They come to finish it. The shock did not come like thunder. It came like a slow, cold wind. It moved through star systems, through governments, through homes. One by one, alien leaders began to understand that something was very wrong, not because humans shouted. Not because humans attacked, because humans did nothing. No speeches, no protests, no demands. Just silence. Trade lanes to human space went dead. Freight beacons that once blinked friendly green now showed nothing. Human markets closed without warning. Tourist hubs shut down. Human students on foreign worlds quietly boarded ships and went home. Diplomats bowed, shook hands, and left embassies. Empty. It was like a tide pulling back from the shore. And everyone knows what comes after the water pulls back. Some younger species joked at first. They said humans were scared. They said humans finally learned their place. Their laughter sounded loud and thin, as if even they did not believe their own words. Older species did not laugh. They remembered burned skies and broken moons. They remembered human ships rising again and again from wreckage that should have been final. They remembered small human units, holding entire lines with nothing left but courage and anger and love for the people behind them, those elders now. Spoke in closed rooms and whispered only one sentence. The humans are preparing. On the main world of the Galactic Council, the counselors met in emergency session. Their great hall did not feel proud anymore. It felt like a trap they had built for themselves. The air was heavy. The walls seemed too close. We must control the story. One counselor said, we did nothing wrong. Another insisted, his voice shaking just a little. He was a threat. You killed a peace envoy under the council flag. An old aquatic being replied softly. There is no greater insult to their species. Screens glowed around them showing maps of human space. The maps began to change in real time. Human defense grids activated. Civilian ports closed. Patrol routes shifted into tight, perfect patterns. No random motion. No confusion. Everything humans did was organized. That was what scared the council most. A panicked aide rushed in with new data. Human fleets are withdrawing from our borders. Many counselors sighed in relief. Good, one said. They are running. But the old aquatic being only closed his eyes. No, he murmured. They are making room. Across the galaxy, normal life began to feel thin and fragile. Miners looked up from work. Market traders stopped mid-sale. Teachers paused before chalkboards. Something unseen pressed down on everyone, as if the stars themselves were holding a secret. On one small farming moon, a child looked at the sky and asked her mother, "Why do the humans look so quiet?" "Because they are listening, her." Mother said without knowing how she knew. Military stations near human space reported strange readings. Not fleets. Not weapons fire. Disappearing signals. Human ships were not seen leaving. They were simply not there anymore. Entire task forces went off-grid in perfect silence. Their transponders died. Their comms died. It was as if they walked behind a dark curtain the galaxy did not know existed. Admirals and alien navies gathered around star charts with worried faces. One asked the question no one wanted to say out loud. Where did they go? No one had an answer. Rumors began like sparks. Humans found new drives. Humans built hidden bases. Humans live in dark space. Humans talk to old machines. Then a new rumor landed like a stone in water and did not go away. Humans do not threaten. Humans just arrive. Civilian newsnets tried to calm people. They played old videos of smiling humans and bright cities. But those same screens also showed one image again and again. Captain Elias Ward, standing in brilliant light, saying his last words with calm eyes. You will regret this. Those words did not sound like anger. They sounded like a promise on a dusty fringe world bar. An old veteran of the First Contact Wars tapped his drink and said, You all think humans shout when they are angry. You are wrong. When humans shout, you are safe. When humans go quiet. He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. The galaxy slowly began to understand its mistake. Not one single mistake of an execution, but a deeper one. They had confused human kindness for weakness. They had confused humor for lack of strength. They had confused patience for surrender. And now patience was gone. In hidden human command centers, orders moved like lightning. Families were quietly warned to prepare. Old oaths were read again. Soldiers checked gear with steady hands. No songs. No loud speeches, only simple words. Protect our own. The Galactic Council released a statement saying the situation was under control. No one believed it. Night fell on many worlds, but people could not sleep. They looked at the stars and wondered which of them now hid human fleets. They wondered what Annihilation Protocol really meant. They wondered how long the silence would last. In the quiet between stars, something answered them, not with words, not yet, but with movement. The sensors could not track and minds could barely understand. The galaxy had asked a terrible question when it killed a human envoy. Now, very soon, it would hear the answer. The first report sounded like mistakes. Lonely listening post on the edge of council space picked up a shadow, not a ship. No heat, no engine trail, no ID signal. Just a shape that should not be there, like darkness moving inside more darkness. The technician checked the screen twice, then 3 times, then called his commander with shaking hands. It is nothing. The commander said. Then the same nothing appeared on 12 more posts in 12 different systems. It did not move like normal fleets. It did not follow routes. It did not warp in with bright light. It was simply there, the way a nightmare is simply there when you wake up sweating in the dark. They called them the Black Signatures first. Then they realized what they really were. They were ships. Human ships, but not the ones the galaxy knew. These were not bright steel cruisers shown at parades. These had no flags, no colors, no proud names painted on hulls. They swallowed light. They ignored scanners. They spoke in silence. Old veterans who saw only a glimpse asked the same question in hushed voices. When did humans build these? Number. One had an answer. On the main council world, alarms rang in deep tones that had not sounded for 100 years. Defense towers woke. Shields rose. Fleets scrambled. Admirals shouted orders that sounded strong but tasted like fear. Do not fire. Unless fired upon, hold formation. Identify the ships. There was nothing to identify. The Black Fleets did not answer hails. They did not jam signals. They simply slid past defenses as space itself was opening doors for them. Stations tried to lock targeting systems. Targeting systems refused. As if they were afraid too. For the first time in living memory, the Galactic Council understood how it felt to be prey. The strange thing was this: cities were not bombed. Planets were not burned. Children were not harmed. The Black Fleets were careful, terrifyingly careful. They went for command centers, not homes. They froze weapons, not hospitals. They cut power to military grids with clean surgical strikes that left everything else untouched. Entire fleets found their engines dead, their guns cold, their computers locked behind unbreakable codes, not destroyed, disabled, captured without touch. Across the galaxy, soldiers stared at dark screens and whispered, "They could kill us." But they don't. And that fear was worse than any blast. On one Council world moon, a Grand Admiral watched as his flagship lost control. Lights dimmed, consoles went blank. A single sentence appeared on every screen in simple human language: "Stand down." This is a precise action. He had never been so afraid of simple words. Then the disappearances began, not random people, not civilians, not children, only those who had voted for the execution. Only those who signed the order. Only those who had smiled when Elias Ward died in white light. They were there one moment, gone the next. No beams, no screams. When Elias Ward died in white light, they were there one moment. No broken doors. They were simply removed, as neatly as a line erased from a page. Their guards slept through it. Their cameras froze mid-frame. Their alarms stayed silent. The only trace left behind was a single symbol burned faintly into the wall. The blue emblem of Earth. News spread faster than light. The humans are taking the Council. The humans are hunting leaders. The humans see everything. Panic grew. Markets crashed. Riots flared and then died because fear stole breath from throats. Ordinary aliens looked at each other and realized something important. The humans are angry. But they are also controlled. This was not rage. This was judgment. Inside secret council bunkers, members argued in shaking voices. They said Annihilation Protocol. They will wipe us all out. No, another whispered. If they wanted that, we would already be gone. The truth hurt more than any threat. Humans had chosen who would pay. They had chosen carefully, on Earth, in a quiet room beneath stone and sea. Anonymous human commanders watched star maps bloom with small blue lights. Each light marked a neutralized weapon, a frozen fleet, a captured counselor. No one smiled. No one celebrated. Their faces were heavy. One young officer spoke in a low voice. "We could hit their worlds. We could end this fast." An older commander shook his head. "We do not punish children for the sins of rulers." That was the other side of humanity the galaxy never learned from. Stories. Humans do not only rage, they also draw lines, and they keep them. Across 1,000 systems, people looked up at the sky and understood a lesson older than the stars. Humans do not shout when they are strongest. They do not roar when they are most dangerous. They arrive quietly, they take what matters, and they leave silence behind. Asterisk. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council did not feel like the center of power anymore. It felt like a hospital waiting room before bad news. Seats were half empty. Names on the panels glowed dimly with no one sitting beneath them. Those missing names belonged to the loudest voices. The ones who had shouted for the execution. The ones who had smirked during the vote. Now those voices were gone. No one knew where. No one dared ask. Armed guards lined the walls, but their eyes kept drifting to the doors, as if they expected them to open at any second. They remembered the disappearances. Locked doors had not helped. Armies had not helped. Distance had not helped. The humans had simply reached out across light years and removed people like picking fruit. The council speaker's hands shook as he lifted the crystal staff. We call this session to order." No one answered. No one argued. The bravest member finally spoke, a soft-skinned creature with trembling lips. "We must talk to Earth." The idea felt like cold water on burned skin. Several heads nodded fast, too fast. Yes, open talks. Send apology. Offer reparations. They were not speaking like rulers now. They were speaking like people who had woken something bigger than themselves and wanted to put it back to sleep. A communication channel was opened. Layers of security wrapped around it. Old protocols were used, sacred diplomatic codes used only in times of disaster. The message was simple and formal. Earth, this is the Galactic Council. We request discussion. We seek peaceful resolution. Respond. The reply did not come fast. Seconds became minutes. Minutes became an hour. Fear grew with each tick. Then every screen in the chamber lit up at once. No face appeared, no fleet, no leader, just a black background and a single line of white text that seemed to glow with terrible calm. Return him. The room went colder than space. Him? A counselor whispered. The envoy? He is dead, another said. His voice broke on the last word. We executed him. Silence swallowed the room. If the humans knew that, then the message made no sense. If the humans did not know, then what were they already doing? More messages followed, the same way, the same cold simplicity. Return him. No threats, no insults, no shouting. Just a demand that should have been impossible to meet. The missing counselors suddenly mattered in a new way. For the first time, the council wondered whether the humans had taken them for punishment or for proof. Debate broke out, quiet but sharp. They want his body. They want us to pay. They want war. But deep inside, every one of them felt the same crawling thought. The humans know something we do not. Across the galaxy, normal people were not talking about politics or trade anymore. They were talking about the envoy. They were replaying his calm last words, the way he stood straight, the way he did not scream, "You will regret this." Parents turned off their children's screens. Old veterans sat in silence with haunted eyes. Priests of many worlds began speaking in soft tones about justice, about consequences, about oaths broken under banners of peace. Meanwhile, the Black Fleets did not stop. They did not bomb cities. They did not burn oceans. They did not break moons. They kept removing pieces of the war machine, quietly, neatly, exactly. Missile fields went offline. War factories fell silent. Strategic AI cores were boxed in unbreakable code and locked out of their own systems. Soldiers woke to find their guns heavy and lifeless in their hands. It felt less like war and more like Judgment Day. In private bunkers, the council tried sending more pleas. We are sorry. We acted out of fear. We wish to repair the mistake. Another reply arrived. Still simple, still cold. Return him. A thin counselor suddenly stood up as if pulled by strings. What if, she whispered, they think he is still alive? The room turned toward her. The old aquatic elder, the one who had warned them from the start, spoke at last. No, he said. It is worse than that. He looked around with tired eyes. They are telling us something. They are telling us that the matter is not finished. They are saying this. You do not decide when he is gone. We do. A deep, aching quiet filled the hall. The truth finally settled like dust on everything. Humans had not come to talk about war. Humans had come to collect a debt. And the council, for the first time in its history, understood how it felt to be very small. Across the stars, the same thought moved through billions of minds like a soft, cold wave. The humans are not asking for victory. They are asking for justice. And until they get it, nothing in the galaxy will be the same. The doors of the council hall had always been symbols. They were carved from the stone of the first world that joined the Alliance. They were tall, heavy, and proud. Generations of rulers had walked through them, feeling safe under their weight. Now every council member stared at those doors as if they were the mouth of some waiting beast. They did not open with force. They did not explode. They simply unlocked. The sound was small, almost gentle. A soft click. A slow swing. Light from the outer hall spilled in like dawn creeping across a graveyard floor. Every guard lifted a weapon. Every counselor stopped breathing. Footsteps entered, calm, measured, human. He stepped into the hall like someone returning home from a long walk. Captain Elias Ward, alive, unbroken. No burn marks, no wounds, no shaking hands. The same black uniform. The same thin badge of earth on his chest. The same eyes calm, deep, frightening not because they were angry, but because they were not. Some counselors screamed, some fainted. Some dropped to their knees. The speaker's crystal staff slipped from numb fingers and shattered on the floor. The sound rang across the hall like a bell marking the end of an age. Elias did not look at it. He kept walking. Behind him came other silent figures in black armor, faces hidden, movements smooth and easy. Human special forces. They did not raise weapons. They did not need to. Every being in the hall understood that if these humans had wanted the council dead, there would be no council left to fear them. And then came the second shock. More footsteps. Alien footsteps. Leaders who had disappeared. Those who voted for execution. The loudest voices, the strongest hands pushing the sentence forward walked in behind the humans. They were alive. Tired, pale, shaken, but alive. Guards and aides cried out in disbelief. A few tried to run to them. Human soldiers. Did not stop them. No chains, no bruises, no torture. Only the weight of understanding on their faces. The entire story shifted in one heartbeat. The council had believed humans came for revenge. Humans had come for proof. Elias stopped in the center of the hall, exactly where he had died. He stood tall, hands loose at his sides, gaze level. The energy platform was gone now. Only the memory of light remained. A member finally found his voice. But we saw you die. Elias nodded once. You saw what you wanted to see. The words were not loud, but they carried. They filled every shadow in the room. The envoy who stood here, he said softly, was a decoy. A perfect synthetic copy, grown for this purpose. Built to bleed, to breathe, to think. Shock rippled through the chamber like a physical force. A decoy, a test, a mirror held up to the galaxy. You were given a choice, Elias continued. You could have chosen honor. You could have sent him home. You could have listened. He looked slowly across the room, eye to eye, species to species. You chose execution. A trembling counselor whispered, You tricked us. He shook his head. No, we revealed. You. It was worse than a weapon. It was worse than fleets. Humans had trusted the galaxy with a test of character. The galaxy had failed. The rescued, once missing council members now spoke, voices cracked by fear and realization. They did not harm us, one said. They asked us questions, said another. Not about weapons. About why, a third whispered. That last word seemed to echo, why? Why did you kill a peace envoy? Why did you break the oldest law? Why did you smile while you did it? The answer was now carved into the history of the stars. Fear, pride, arrogance. Elias raised his head slightly. The Annihilation Protocol, he said, was not created to destroy the galaxy. It was created to restrain us. To make sure that when this test was failed, humanity would act with precision, not rage. The Council finally understood the deepest, most frightening truth. Humans were not scared of the galaxy. Humans were scared of themselves. A hush settled like soft snow. Elias spoke one final time, clear and slow. We do not enjoy war. We do not hunger for death. But we will never allow a human envoy to be killed without consequence. Not today. Not ever again. The black fleets did not fire. The guns did not roar. The stars did not burn, because they did not need to. Justice had already walked through the door. Some counselors began to cry, not out of pain, but out of the terrible relief of people who finally saw the truth they tried not to see. Others bowed their heads. The old aquatic elder spoke, voice shaking not with fear, but with respect. What happens now? For the first time, Elias smiled, but it was a sad smile. Now, he said, you decide who you will be after this. The impossible had happened. The dead envoy had returned. And with him came something greater than war, judgment, and a second chance. The council hall was no longer silent out of fear. It was silent out of realization that something had shifted in the air, like storm clouds breaking and sunlight touching a wounded field. The members stared at Captain Elias Ward, alive and real. And they understood that the galaxy they woke into tomorrow would not be the same as the one they ruled yesterday. Elias stood at the center of it all, calm as stone in a river, that he did not look like a conqueror. He did not look like a victim. He looked like a teacher who wished he did not have to teach this lesson. You have now seen two sides of us, Elias said quietly. The side that asked for peace, and the side that answers when peace is murdered. The words did not carry anger. They carried weight. Human soldiers remained still along the walls. They watched but did not threaten. The black fleets waited in dark space, weapons cold but ready. Every leader in the room could feel it, like a second horizon behind the first. If humanity wanted to end this council, no speech, no law, no fleet could stop them, and yet humanity had not ended anything. They had stopped. They had chosen restraint. Counselor with golden eyes whispered, "You could have destroyed us." Elias nodded double yes. Another voice broke in, small and scared. "Why didn't you?" He took a slow breath. "Because children live on your worlds," he said. "Because farmers wake early and fishermen go out at dawn. Because singers write songs and teachers open books. They did not vote for execution. They did not stand in this hall. They did not choose this." He paused. "And we do not punish the innocent for the crimes of the powerful." That line moved like a soft quake through every heart present. Somewhere across the galaxy, broadcast translated his words into 1,000 tongues. Miners in deep tunnels stopped work to listen. Pilots in orbit let their hands fall from their controls. Families huddled around screens. Everyone heard the same promise. Humans are dangerous, but humans also care. The rescued council members stepped forward now, humbled and pale. One of them bowed deeply toward Elias. "We were wrong," he said. "Not just in what we did, but in what we believed. We thought your kindness was a mask. We thought your patience was weakness. We were afraid of you, and we hid that fear under pride." He swallowed. Fear led us to kill a man sent in peace. Elias did not answer at once. He let the confession settle. He let the room breathe. Finally he spoke. "Fear is not a crime," he said softly. "What you do with it is." The black-armored humans behind him began to withdraw. No slam of boots, no parade. They just faded into motion the way shadows fade at sunset. One by one, council members realized something else vital. The test was still going. Not of strength, not of character. The council speaker, now without his crystal staff, rose slowly to his feet. His voice no longer tried to sound powerful. It tried to sound honest. "What will humans do now?" Elias looked up toward the high windows where distant stars burned like watchful eyes. "Live," he said. "Grow, argue, laugh, make mistakes, try again. We will explore. We will protect our people. And if anyone kills a human envoy under a flag of peace again," he did not raise his voice, "we will come back." The words were not a threat. They were a law. A new entry for the galactic record was drafted that very day. It was not written in cold legal language. It was simple, like all things that matter. No human envoy is to be harmed. No envoy of any species is to be harmed. Peace envoys are sacred, that it was no longer just a human rule, that it became a rule of the stars. The Annihilation Protocol shut down. Deep machines returned to sleep. Vault doors closed under ice and mountain. Quiet AI minds sank back into stillness. Human fleets broke from black formation and returned to known space. Like shadows becoming ships again, the galaxy exhaled. As Elias turned to leave the hall, he paused and looked back one last time. "Remember this," he said. "Earth tried peace first." Then he walked through the old stone doors, and they closed behind him with a soft sound that did not feel like an ending. It felt like a beginning. Across countless worlds, people looked up at the sky that night and did not just see human power. They saw the other side of humanity, the side that bleeds but stands, that is feared but chooses mercy, that hates war but will face it, that forgives slowly and protects completely.